Hello, hello. This is your host, Sheraz Ahmed, and welcome to the season 2 episode finale of the Crypto Valley Association podcast. Now, let's discover together some of the growing trends of this fast moving space and try to shed some light on the mysteries it contains. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Mathias Ruch, an entrepreneur and investor who co-founded the Crypto Valley Labs, a unique network of tokenized co-working hubs designed to support and grow the worldwide blockchain ecosystem by connecting blockchain pioneers, service providers, and innovators of all kinds. So let's dive straight into the Crypto Valley. Hey, Mathias, how's it going?
Hey, Sheraz, going good. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Well, let's dive straight in. I mean, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your first blockchain-related experience.
Oh, my first blockchain-related experience. So I am not one of those early Bitcoin adopters. I was actually taking a closer look into the crowdfunding space back in 2013, 14, I would say. And, it was that the whole crowdfunding space was supposed to take over the VC space. And I thought that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the first large, crypto-based, blockchain-based crowdfunding events took place. You all remember the DAO. I, of course, read about the DAO, and that was really when I, was all into it. So that was back in, when was that? 2015?
Wow. Okay. That's quite some time ago. But did you get the chance to invest into crypto that early on?
Yeah, we took a bit of a different road. So while we were looking into the crowdfunding space, we were developing a new investment model. And when we were starting our initial company, so the predecessor company of CVVC and CV Labs was called Lakeside Partners. And we were founding that in early 2016. And, it was basically, we were saying, listen, since we are based out of Zug, the heart of Crypto Valley, let's take a closer look at this thing called Crypto Valley. And that's what we did. So we talked to everybody, to the authorities, to the projects that were here, even to the federal government. And we quickly realized that there's something big happening. But we also realized that there is a lot of speculation and a lot of immaturity in the space. So we refrained from investing at the time in the assets at the time, but we were investing in the local ecosystem instead. So building co-working spaces, creating an advisory, starting conferences and a blockchain competition. So we took a different path and waited for, let's call it the common sense back in the system to start that very strategic and sustainable investment approach in the blockchain space.
Yeah, totally understandable. And building up this infrastructure is very, very important. Do you believe that any of this rationality has come into play now, or the markets is still rather rational?
Would have been a different answer a couple of months ago, right? So, well, the fact, what we see today, and, the fact that everybody is looking into our space again is because there is institutional money coming in. And so this is here to stay, it's sustainable and which is very good for us. And of course, there is new spaces within that big space emerging and of course there's speculation in it again, which is fine. But in general, the current situation and even the future looks very, very bright for all of us.
Oh, glad to hear that, Mathias. And so maybe you discussed a little bit about the Crypto Valley, and this is the Crypto Valley Association podcast, and we actually don't speak so much about the Crypto Valley itself. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it and your journey within it as you've seen it really grow from what it was to what it's become today.
Yeah, so when we started to look into the Crypto Valley, that was pre-Crypto Valley Association. And of course, the founders of the Crypto Valley Association, we were a founding member of the Crypto Valley Association. That was a very small group of people. Remember, there was a meetup series called First Tuesday, where the small group of people would meet up every Tuesday at the restaurant close to the lake.
Yes.
That's when all the first generation projects that came after Ethereum were presenting themselves. So there was no week without one of the international projects coming here to Zug and wanting to showcase what they have. If I go back how this felt, people were actually ringing at our door and were asking if this was Crypto Valley. And they were really looking where to meet, where to regroup, where can I find like-minded people, where are the pioneers and everything. So there was a large demand. I remember in the early days, I think we had some 200 requests per week from people coming there, wanting support, investments, connections. How do I set up company? How do I conduct an ICO? What's there to take into consideration? So that was actually that was kind of overwhelming. And, also the meetups, they grew in size very, very fast. And it was just very exciting. And you had all these people here, all the pioneers were here. And, when we were talking to people from other global hubs, such as Singapore or New York at the time, people were telling, listen, your event might be a bit smaller in numbers, but the amount of the real people, as I said, the pioneers, the founders, the project leaders, the thought leaders that are amongst the 50 people, maybe instead of 100 or 200 in these other places, is just amazing. So you could really talk to them and you could share what your vision was. It was just really, everything was possible at the time. That was really exciting. We kept saying, that's what we said to each other. We woke up one day, we opened our door, and we realized that Silicon Valley has moved and is now called Crypto Valley. That was a bit the perception at the beginning.
Oh, I see. And then you decided to found a Crypto Valley Labs, and now it's the CVC. Would you care to tell us more about this kind of transition into these ventures?
Exactly. So instead of investing in the digital assets at the time, the tokens, we invested in our activities, in the build out of this ecosystem, in infrastructure, if you want to call it. We launched, I think it was Europe's first blockchain competition in 2016. When we were focusing on verticals, that was blockchain for insurance, and Etherisk, for example, was part of that. And we were just adding a price tag. We didn't know where should we start, and we added 100,000. And we were the biggest competition at the time in the blockchain space with that price tag. So we had a lot of attention, a lot of incoming proposals, and we quickly realized, well, that there's really a lot of traction here. And out of this blockchain competition, we wanted to kind of showcase the 10 best startups that were in this competition to a crowd, to an audience. And so we launched the CV Summit, which was the first conference here in Crypto Valley taking place at the Casino Theater, where, I think it was half a day in the beginning, where we started to have some panels, some corporates, some other startups. And of course, we had the finals of this blockchain competition. And that's how we launched this event series called CV Summit. We did that twice a year. The 17, 18, 19 was the last time due to COVID now. And so you could really see the ecosystem grow. And, what we also quickly realized was there is no a main place, a location where people would gather. They would group at Starbucks or at apartments, and we said, let's build a co-working space. Let's build a place where everybody can meet, with a crypto cafe and everything. So we were looking for real estate within very close to the station, and that's not easy to find in Zug. And we were happy to find this building that we are in, this 4-story building that we are in today. And we launched that in 2018, early 2018, and the Crypto Valley started to grow even faster. And it was around that time, after it was foreseeable that something like crypto winter would eventually happen, and we were saying this is probably also something that needs to happen. And we were when we were anticipating this, you could tell by the different kind of people and projects that will come to Switzerland at the time. At some point, the PayPal mafia was here. They were calling us and were asking, hey, when can we have lunch? We want to understand what's happening here. And bigger projects just with a different scope would come here. And then we said, okay, now we have to actually start our strategic investment approach and launch CVVC in also 2018, in summer 2018. Launched some capital, started to build out, launched our own incubation program, had our first incubation program in late 18, if I'm not mistaken, where up to 20 startups would come to our 10-week program to Zug, and we would invest up to 125,000 USD in against 10% equity. So we started to actually invest in the companies. Now, what we are doing from an investment perspective, we are investing in the second layer, so not in infrastructure, but in the bricks and shovels of the space, applications and service based on blockchain technology. That's probably a bit of a difference to the asset focused or digital asset focused investors out there. And we started to invest. We had another incubation program. We made some direct investments, so that we have 27 investments today in our portfolio. And we are still growing. So CVVC is a global company. Only 10% of our deal flow is from Switzerland. The rest is international. We have opened CV Labs hubs in addition to Zug in Dubai and Vaduz, Liechtenstein. And we are planning to an additional one in Asia, in Southeast Asia. So we want to tap into these other large global ecosystems in order to, it's very simple. Our business, our mission is very simple. Always find the best global startups in the space and always have enough money to be able to invest in them.
as simple as that. Wonderful. Well, it's great. It's great to hear the expansion plans and bringing this kind of name and the branding of the Crypto Valley out to the wider world. I think that's beautiful. And so you're also the co-founder of Swiss Blockchain Federation. I mean, how's that been going? What is the purpose of this federation?
Yeah, that was very much alongside the Crypto Valley Association, where Crypto Valley Association is a large association with a lot of members and very much focusing on ecosystem and bringing the ecosystem players together and really facilitating and nurturing the ecosystem. When the Blockchain Federation, which was initially the Blockchain Task Force, headed or patronaged by two federal councillors, Uli Maurer and Johann Schneider-Ammann, back in 2017, was really focused on building the bridge to Bern, and Bern being the capital of Switzerland, where the government is where the parliament is, because we could really not only feel, but when we were talking to these authorities, we would realize there's a large gap between what's happening here in Crypto Valley, where everybody understands this opportunity. I personally think this is one of the biggest opportunities of Switzerland of the century, and probably the biggest opportunity of my professional life. But Parliament and decision makers wouldn't understand the scope of this opportunity. So we had to build a bridge. And the goal of the federation and initially the task force was really to create legal certainty, to create a legal framework, a regulatory framework that was sustainable and would increase the attractiveness and competitiveness of Switzerland as a global blockchain hub. And the federation is just a continuation of the blockchain task force together with cantons, the Swiss cantons in Switzerland. So it's a public-private partnership that still has the mission to develop or further develop the framework, the legal framework, the regulatory side of things, as well as, and that's new from 2021, to support the space with innovation, in the sense of that we are launching this year the InnoBooster program, which is it's a federal program called in our case Blockchain Nation Switzerland, with the goal to really help develop the ecosystem, which is already very, very well developed. We have regulated players, we have a great framework that will be in place in summer. We have infrastructure, we have great protocol projects here in Switzerland. We have a lot of service providers, universities, so we have talent. We have everything it takes to showcase the potential of Crypto Valley and Blockchain Nation Switzerland to the world. So you have to bundle what is there, and you have to show the world what you can do with this technology. And this is probably what I'm most excited about this year, is really with the new regulatory framework, with what we are anticipating, the boost that is going to come in the digital asset space based on these recent developments. This is going to be, that's my personal opinion, this is going to be a bigger boost that we saw in 16, 17. It's going to be even bigger and more sustainable. And that's why I'm so excited. And this InnoBooster program, so the innovation part of Blockchain Nation Switzerland, is a 4-year program. And it consists of an innovation cycle that will restart every year. And it starts with ideation, which is basically an open innovation platform where everybody, the whole community, can launch ideas, challenges that are based on the opportunities in the blockchain space. It goes then into at least one hackathon, large hackathon, in all the different parts of Switzerland, where we want to create prototypes very fast, because the goal of the whole cycle is not to create ideas, but to create startups and projects that could be incorporated, being picked up by corporates. Which brings me to the third phase of this cycle, which is called corporate acceleration, developing use cases, basically. And then in the end, they can join our incubation program, everything paid by the government. And hopefully you are as good in as part of this program that we are going to invest in the end as CVVC. So that's really what I am, most excited about this year.
Wow. Okay, that's wonderful. It really sounds like all the stars are aligned within Switzerland.
It feels like the pieces of the puzzle are coming together this year. I have to tell you that, yes. But not only in Switzerland, I think that's a global phenomenon. Mm-hmm. When you take a look at what's happened the past 3 months, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I agree. But and so, do you believe that other regulations apart from Switzerland are really following that trend? And I see that the Swiss legislation is coming together with this entrepreneurial spirit and with the space as a whole. But do you really see that abroad in other countries as well? How do you see that?
Yes, of course. And I mean, a lot of other countries have caught up. If you look at Hong Kong, if you look at Singapore, Japan, Korea. Well, Korea maybe not on the regulatory side of things. A lot of these jurisdictions have already very progressive, forward-looking, forward-thinking regulatory frameworks that allow for a lot of different business models to become active. So the Swiss way probably wasn't the fastest, but it's probably one of the most sustainable ones, right? So I really think that the framework that Switzerland has put in place or is putting in place this year is a very smart one. It's very light. It's small amendments in the different aspects of our legal framework, mm-hmm. which just basically creates the fundament for any business model based on this technology.
I see. It's great to hear, and it's great to see that you're really like driving all of these different parts in tandem together, and you have so many occupations, very important person within the space. I mean, are there any other interesting ventures you wanted to mention that kind of play a role within this? You also mentioned an African incubator as well when we were discussing. I mean, and anything else you believe is supporting in this growth?
Yeah, it's a global phenomenon, right? And if you look at the different parts of the ecosystem and the opportunities that are linked to different sort of socio-economic or economic and even demographic basics, a lot of regions in this world become very attractive from both a VC perspective, but also from a perspective of what you can bring to a society or a country. And our planned activities in Africa go back to a couple of trips that we were able to take together with the Swiss Embassy, the Department of Foreign Affairs, to South Africa, to Mauritius. And, the key takeaway is wherever you go, to whomever you speak, the potential of blockchain and what it could potentially do to you as an individual, but also to you as a business owner or a member of a society, it resonates with each and everyone. And each and everyone leaves the room with full of inspiration, full of ideas, what they could change in their life. And this happened to us very much so in Africa, and drove us to take a closer look to the status quo of you can call it Blockchain Nation Africa, when we came to the conclusion the potential is huge. And we want to tap into that potential. And basically the initiative that we are about to launch together with the Swiss government is called Blockchain for Africa. And our goal will be to invest in over 100 startups over the coming 4 years that have the potential to tackle the challenges of the African continent. So we are very hopeful to being able to launch this initiative this year. The goal, of course, is to start with incubation. We use our existing program as soon as COVID allows to also go abroad and have these incubation programs on location, which of course, due to COVID, has been difficult the past years. Of course, we've changed everything to hybrid so that we could have a fully virtual program if needed. So maybe the next thing which is very tangible, I'm very much looking forward to, is our own incubation program here in Zug that we have been postponing to later this year, starting 27 September. That date is for sure. Everybody who hears this, if you have a great blockchain idea, a project, a prototype, an MVP, and you want to develop it further to a startup, get some funding, apply for our incubation program taking place in September this year. So hopefully this can be on location, physical, meeting all of you. What I still enjoy most in the space and also as a VC is, interaction with the founder, the great minds behind the projects, and learning more about their ideas.
Wow, yeah, it's inspiring even just hearing you talk about it. So no, wonderful, and hopefully that will be the case. And maybe that is a good question to bounce off on is how did this whole COVID-19 pandemic affect your business life and all these ventures?
It slowed us down. I think it slowed the whole world down. On one side, there's always two sides to a crisis, right? And for us, the positive side, of course, is the digitization push, caused by the socio economic circumstances, the pandemic that drove everybody, probably globally, everybody into digital in a it's never seen before. I think all know the stories, and you all talk to people that probably before COVID never were on any a Zoom call before, and now probably everybody has had a Zoom call these days. Even my mom and I are Zooming. So this is really extraordinary. And of course, since we are in a digital space, since we are technology-based VC, this helps. We've identified 6 verticals in our investment thesis that are directly based on these socioeconomic changes that we've experienced recently. All of our startups have been very fast in adopting to the new normal. I think the faster you can adopt to the new normal in any area, the easier it will be for you, and the faster you are also back to a new normal yourself. And so that's the positive side of things. On the negative side of things, of course, we couldn't have any conferences. We couldn't travel. We were about to start the development in Asia. If you cannot travel, you're not going to close deals. If you cannot talk to investors, you cannot develop as initially planned. And so we were slowed down. Luckily, during summer there was a relief, at least here in Europe. And then winter came and everything was back to slower again. So you adopt, it takes longer, but I think in the end for us, and again, I really have to say we're lucky to be in a digital space. We will come out at the end of the tunnel stronger and fully positive with what the future brings for our space.
Wow, that's great to hear, and it's wonderful to hear that positive twist. It was important to see the silver lining even throughout all this.
The sun came out here in Zug today, and temperatures. I think last week temperatures were at like minus 20 degrees Celsius, and today it's almost 20. So maybe that's also a lot of positivity when you can actually smell and feel spring coming, and I think that's really an image that I think is true for the whole development. I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm very positive about the future. Let's get it over with the pandemic and start to recreate and redevelop or further develop what we have started.
Yes, I agree. And move on to bigger and better things. Well, thank you so much, Mathias. And maybe do you have any final words for our listeners today?
Well, I mean, if you have been following Crypto Valley from the very beginning, and if you went through the highs of the ICO craze back in the days and then experienced the crypto winter, I am really absolutely strongly convinced that we are going to see an even bigger wave in the future with the regulatory framework in Switzerland and also abroad coming, with the digital asset space maturing, with the institutional money coming into the space. I know not everybody likes to hear that, but that's going to push the whole technology, the whole ecosystem to a next level. It's going to be an even more exciting ride in the very future.
Great to hear. Well, thank you so much once again. And if you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to check out more on our website, cryptovalley.swiss, where we host plenty of events, educational content, and even provide information on how you can join our growing community. So thank you, Mathias, for joining us.
Thank you, Sheraz. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Stay tuned, stay safe, and until next time from the Crypto Valley in Switzerland. Bye-bye.